Feeling good, feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome in. This is Timeline T. I am your host, D. Sam D, aka Sam Dismay Jr. Oh, it is a hump day. It is a Wednesday. What is popping? What is going on? Thank you for those pulling up. Thank you for the likes in advance. I appreciate you. There's a lot to get into. As you saw from the title, Packers and Jets, is there some low-key beef happening? Seems like there's a lot of tea being thrown in the Jets' direction towards the Packers as they're trying to navigate, they're trying to figure out how exactly do we get the compensation that's right for one Aaron Rodgers. You also see owners versus Lamar. Owners are speaking their truth at the owners' meetings. Microphones are being put in front of them. Cameras are being put in front of them, and they are airing stuff out. And they are all trying to defend their stance that, nope, we have ample reason why we do not want one Lamar Jackson. Lamar also took to the Elon app to speak on a lot of the narratives that have been put out there. We will get to that. Y'all already know how I get down. We'll see who pulls up today to join the stream, but it's a lot. It's just a lot. Seeing Lamar finally speak is very heartwarming to me because there's been a lot of narratives about Lamar, and there's a lot of fake news, false news, trash narratives, all of that about Lamar. So I'm happy he's speaking. And then the Thursday night flex, you see that down here at the bottom, the third topic, if we get there. Sometimes, the first two topics take over the stream and we just ride out. We did 3 hours the other day on Monday, so who knows? But NFL and the Thursday night football flex, there are owners talking about it. There are players responding to how the owners are talking about it. We will check in on that and tap in on that. So a lot of NFL here. And, based off just the way you guys are reacting, the way that the response has been off the streams, they're going to keep it NFL heavy because, to be quite honest, there's nothing really to talk about when it comes to basketball until probably 2 to 3 weeks. And then we'll be touching on the NBA playoffs and ride on through that all the way to the finals. But in regards to the NFL, we shall start with the Jets and the Packers. Are they beefing? Are they beefing? I know how I do here. Let's get right into the screen. Update: the Packers have backed off from wanting the Jets' 13th overall pick in 2023. Overall, the Jets believe that the Packers have been, quote, unreasonable and irrational. Now, again, this is the same blue check boy in regards to Florio, who had some things that turned out to be not so accurate in regards to Lamar Jackson. But do we take him at his word here? He's saying here that the Jets are saying that the Packers are being unreasonable and irrational. Y'all let me know in the comments. Based off what we've known, the fact that they wanted a first and potentially a second and maybe even more picks. Now we had to report yesterday that all right, they're willing to come down, just give us a second this year and potentially a third, which can go to a first depending on some ramifications, some basically incentive-laden pick, from next year. So there's been a lot in regards to trying to navigate. Is this what they want? What can the Packers get from the Jets, and what's a reasonable package for them to give up? And the Jets have been trying to navigate this because they want this done. You have to believe that the Jets want this done. The problem is the Packers have all the leverage. Every deal is consummated with who has the most leverage, who's going to blink. The Jets are in a position of need. It's supply and demand, right? The Packers have the supply. They have Aaron Rodgers. The Jets are in demand. Therefore, the Packers can get more for their supply because of the demand of the Jets. Is that what's at play here? Is that what's happening here? Because 2 seconds in a conditional for Aaron Rodgers, that seems to be reasonable. But the fact that the Packers were trying to get a first in addition to more picks, and especially the 13th pick, which is relatively high, that to me was asking a lot. But again, a few weeks ago, we were given the impression that this was going to be a Deshaun Watson type deal or a Russell Wilson type deal where it's going to be multiple first. Now it's been walked down to where now they're finally, allegedly, according to Mike Florio, backing off of a first round pick. Now they're settling in on allegedly second round picks, multiple second round picks, conditional third pick in the future, which could be escalated to a first if certain provisions are hit. That now seems to be the narrative. So, I don't know if Lombardi Leap is in here yet, but we're leading with Packers today because this to me is the more pressing story, because unreasonable and irrational, that's pretty damning statement in regards to, trying to deal with someone that you're in constant negotiations with. But again, supply and demand. The Packers are fine either way in their mind. They're spinning it that they're fine either with Jordan Love taking over, or if Aaron Rodgers has to crawl back, if he doesn't retire, if this Jets thing doesn't work out. Either way, they got a QB that they're confident in. They have a surplus, if you will. Whereas the Jets, who clearly want nothing to do with Zach Wilson, haven't engaged in any other real offers. They kind of flirted with Derek Carr. The Jets were allegedly trying to make him wait. That didn't really pan out because Derek Carr was like, well, I'm not going to wait on Aaron Rodgers, so I'm just going to go get the bag wherever I can get it. So now we have a thing where the Jets are just, Aaron Rodgers a bust, because I have no faith in them jumping into this Lamar thing. And if you know Woody Johnson, Google is your friend. You can find out exactly why I think he doesn't want any parts of Lamar Jackson. But I see y'all in the comments heavy. We'll touch on the comments quick. Let's see what we got. Boogie down, EJ. Hope the Jets make a push for Lamar. No chance. Absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely no chance. And it's because of Woody Johnson. I think if Robert Saleh and even Joe Douglas had the wherewithal, if they had the power, I think they would be more inclined to, roll the dice. But Woody Johnson has to sign off on that, and I just don't see that happening. So I don't think you're going to get that. Let's see here. Boogie Down's going off on Arthur Blank. Don't worry. I got this statement loaded up, so don't worry. Arthur Blank literally Sam Mariota. Yep. Don't worry. Please believe. We will get to Arthur Blank. He's scared money. But I think with this Jets-Packers thing, I find it the fact that they're willing to allow this stuff to leak out. Because again, Mike Florio, most of his sources, and I don't want to speak like I know him per se, but he's another one of these blue check boys, and most of their sources are people within organizations. So the fact that he can come with these types of words and quote unreasonable and irrational, he's choosing those words carefully because those are words that were probably said to him either via text or on the phone. And those are words he probably had to confirm, like, are you okay if I go with that? And I'm sure whoever he has on the Jets side said, yeah, run with that. Put that out there because we're trying to get this done. But the Packers are being, quote, unreasonable and irrational. So there you go with that. Bring the Heat tapping in. What's good? Bring the Heat. 2 seconds in a conditional, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I think that's what we settled on yesterday. I'm sure I see Lombardi Leap is here, and that's good because he's our resident Packers guy. And, he'll let us know. But I'm pretty sure that's where we kind of landed on yesterday. But the fact that the Packers were trying to get the first, I'm not mad at them trying to get the first, but you can't hold the deal up. If, Mark Murphy was out there saying that they're prepared to move on. He was saying this weeks ago. So you're going to do all that and then, hold, the Jets hostage over a first round pick. If you're done. If you're done, be done. If you're ready for the Jordan Love era to begin, then let's just go ahead and get it cracking. Like, let's stop playing the games. And here's our Packer guy, Lombardi Leap. Cap doesn't matter as much as what people say it does, and Packers can sit if they want. Yeah, that's the thing. They're in the position of power. They have the leverage. Supply and demand. We have 2 QBs. You don't have faith in the one that you have. You want one of ours? Okay, that creates the demand. We have the supply. Give us what we want. It's really simple. It really is that simple when it comes right down to it. So, yes, the Jets had to maneuver all the cap stuff and had to cut players and, trade Elijah Moore down the road, cut Corey Davis, all of that. Like, the Jets had to do all that. Didn't bring back Barrios. Like, they did all of that. And they still are going to have to more than likely restructure this Aaron Rodgers contract. So, it's all about the Packers are good. They're down to pay the 60 M's. They're down to pay the 60. Bring the heat. I wonder how many of these reporters are blowing smoke. Oh, bring the heat. Oh, if we could ever get this to where we could do some private streams, there's a lot of information I would be willing to disclose, because being in this game, in this sports media industry for 14, soon to be 15 years, is so much smoke, bro. It is so much smoke. Like, a lot of y'all favorites, and not y'all that's here in the chat and contributing, but y'all, the proverbial y'all, a lot of y'all favorites, they don't really have a clue. They just don't. Whether from an analytical standpoint or whether from a insider standpoint, a lot of them just do not have a clue. But, it is what it is. The game is the game. Lombardi Elite. Rodgers is an exceptional talent who is only a year removed from... Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think anyone's questioning... Well, some people are. I'm not questioning how much Aaron Rodgers, or how good he is. A lot of people are referencing that he had a down year last year. I'm not really on that type of time. I'm going to go with the sample size of his entire career. And as a former Bears fan, being subjected to so many discount double checks against my former team, I'm not going to sit here and say A-Rod is done. I think there is the father time angle. I don't think we should be ignorant to the fact that he is getting up there, and that there is going to be a time where he's not going to be able to throw the same. The arm is going to be a shot. It happened to all of them. It happened to Tom Brady. It happened to Peyton Manning. Like, all the greats. It happened to Drew Brees. Like, there's going to come a point where that arm becomes a noodle arm. It's going to happen. There was a rumor out there that Phillip Rivers was calling teams last year when all the QBs were falling down and going boom. And I'm like, who actually would have signed Phillip Rivers after what we saw with the Colts? Like, after what you saw in the Colts, what you thought 9 months off? Would it be enough to get that noodle arm back? Like, no, you're done. Once that arm is gone and you're a statue back there, you can't move. No. I mean, I'm sure Cam Newton could probably still throw, but one, he's never been accurate. And two, he's the father time has caught up with him. So unless you're going to use him on the goal line, he really can't bring nothing else. So, Cam Newton threatening or, toying with the idea of trying to come back is laughable to me. Because it's like, yo, dogs, like, father time caught up with you. It passed you. You had your run. You got an MVP out of it. You went to a Super Bowl, numerous accolades. You're good. You had a good run. Like, you definitely outperformed what the critics thought of you. Like, if you remember that Sports Illustrated cover with who was on there? It was Jake Locker, Cam Newton, and who was the third one? It was somebody else on there. Hang on. We are going to look this up in real time. It was Cam Newton, Jake Locker, and it was one more QB on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And it was like the GMs are trying to, like, they're having a hard time figure out, who should be taken. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Blaine Gabbert. It was your man's Blaine Gabbert. This was a real thing. Cam Newton, Blaine Gabbert, Jake Locker. And a lot of your favorites or a lot of your analysts or your experts or whatever were truly picking Jake Locker and Blake Gabbert. Like, Cam was a distant third. So, it was a real thing. It was a real thing. Trust. Let's see. Let's get back to the comments. Alexandra, thank you for pulling up. Lamar is definitely facing collusion. Cam is awful. Well, I mean, okay. I agree with the first part. I disagree with the second part. Like, Cam is awful right now. Yes. Was Cam awful his whole career? I don't think you could do that. You can certainly find his flaws. He had flaws, right? He was never accurate, right? It was never the prettiest ball that he threw, right? Like, it wasn't the most beautiful ball. It wasn't the most perfect spiral, but he got the ball in there. When he actually had some weapons, he got the ball in there. So I don't think Cam Newton is awful or was awful. Maybe current day he's awful in terms of his skill set to be a quarterback in today's NFL, especially. Like, that Patriots run was kind of rough, although I think it was a little bit better than it's been portrayed. You know, it was the Patriots, so you know he had no weapons. So it's kind of like you're asking him to do rookie Cam Newton things after like a decade in. Like, that's not really the smartest way to go about it if you're going to bring in Cam Newton. But, you know, I understand. Okay, Alexandra, right now, not the whole, yeah. The fact that I think he was just toying with the idea that video went viral of him throwing the pass. Well, he threw it like 70 yards in the air or some nonsense like that. So I think that the response to that video gave him, you know, put that energy in his back, put that battery in his back to think, oh, maybe I can, you know, squeeze out one more year. And like, no, stop right there. Nope. Unless you're going to do RPOs on the goal line, I'll be here for that. Like, if you put that specifically, we're signing you to be a weapon on the goal line, then okay. But, you know, trying to be out here and be a starter? No. Would you take Cam as a backup? I don't even know if I would take him as a backup to keep it a buck with you. Let's see. Back in the comments. I bet if Lamar was on the Packers roster last year, they would have made the playoffs. Well, you know the easy response to that. Would he have been healthy? And that's their version of a big joker. It's not a true big joker, but that's everyone's big joker when it comes to Lamar. Of, you know, he's missed 5 games each of the last 2 seasons. But again, we know how this goes. Y'all who have been here on the stream, y'all know my instant response, but do you know about the training staff? And then we go from there. But this Packer thing, I guess, you know, there's not much more to this Packer thing. It was just kind of in a holding pattern. And this is a story this story annoys me more than the Lamar story in terms of just waiting for something to happen. One, because allegedly we were told a few weeks ago that this part of the deal was allegedly done. And we were waiting on Aaron. Then we got Aaron to make the announcement of his intentions, and now we're back to square one, apparently. That's a problem. 2, it shouldn't be that hard to figure out this type of compensation. You're only figuring out draft compensation. This shouldn't be that difficult. The Packers are fully aware of the picks that the Jets hold, and they just went and added an extra second-round pick in trading Elijah Moore to the Browns. So the Packers have been fully aware of the draft capital the Jets have. So make a couple of suggestions and then begin the counterpoint negotiation thing with the Jets. But apparently, according to, you know, blue check boy Mike Florio, who was on with McAfee, the Packers have been, quote, unreasonable and irrational. So we'll see how that goes. We'll come off that. Let's see. Y'all ready for Lamar? Let's go ahead. Oh, Lamar's the man. Lamar is speaking, and I love this part especially. The fact that he is speaking. Lamar Jackson said earlier, well, this was last night, right? Late last night, Lamar took to the Elon app. I don't remember me sitting out on my guys week 1 versus the Jets to week 12 versus the Broncos. How come all of a sudden I sit out because of money in which I could have got hurt at any time within that time frame? When we know the Super Bowl been on my mind since April 2018, let's get real. I'd rather have a 100% PCL than go out there and play horrible, forcing myself to put my guys in a bad situation. Now that's selfish to me. So again, he's referencing that he was not healthy and he did not feel comfortable, contract year or not, going out there and potentially re-injuring it or further damaging his PCL. And he'd rather be back out there at 100%. And again, this part here is where, you have to really bring into picture their training staff. Their training staff got an F-. And Lamar went out there and got second opinions at the end of the season in regards to his PCL. And he decided not to test it, not to put it out there. He didn't feel confident in it. And with the way that the Ravens offense and whole team is structured, this team and this offense is structured for Lamar Jackson to be superhuman every single down. And if he doesn't feel confident every single down that I can take off and do whatever I want every single drop back, then yeah, he can't put himself out there. And he should not put himself out there because, like he said here, I'm forcing myself to put my guys in a bad situation. Because if he goes out there and he's limping around and hobbling around and falling down, that offense is already bad enough with Lamar at 100% with no weapons. Now we're going to put out there a 75%, if not lower, Lamar Jackson, who can't use one of the biggest thing of his arsenal, which is his legs. Come on. Okay, let's go back to the comments. Boogie down. People are comparing AR-15 to Cam. Do you think he has a higher ceiling than Cam or too easy to call? If you don't know who AR-15 is, that's Anthony Richardson, who's coming out of Florida in this draft. We've seen mock draft as high as 4. There have been rumors that he could go even number 1 overall. This was a guy who didn't even have a first-round grade coming into last season in college football. But he has just shot up all the big boards, and now he's in a position where he's a top 5 pick in this draft. So is it too easy of a comparison to Cam? I think physically that's the easiest comparison. It's been a lot of Cam Newton. It's been a lot of Justin Fields, right? His arm, though, gives me more Justin Fields than Cam. I think Cam's arm was just never accurate enough. Justin Fields is not accurate because his mechanics are awful, right? Cam had a really very slow release, and they could never find a way to speed up his release. So he was always inaccurate. I see a lot more Justin Fields from an arm perspective in Anthony Richardson than with Cam Newton. Like, to me, I see a lot more Justin Fields. He needs to work on his footwork. He needs to work on his mechanics. I see a lot of that in Anthony Richardson, where it's like, once he figures that part out, because he's physically gifted. He's physically gifted, and he's intelligent enough of knowing when to use those gifts, right? That is also a level of intelligence, right? So he has good decision-making when it comes of knowing when to take off, knowing when to be aggressive, knowing when to fall back and stay in the pocket and just kind of maybe be mobile and not necessarily dual threat. So I think there's a lot there to take in with Anthony Richardson. I think the main bugaboo for him is going to be, I would not play him next year, no matter who drafts him. If it's the Colts with the 4th pick, or if somebody trades up, I would not play him next year. I don't think he's ready next year. He is by far the biggest project of these 4 QBs that are mentioning for the first round. I think he's definitely the biggest project, and I would not play him next year. So, if Cam Newton came in and he was damn near a finished product when he got to the league, like, you weren't going to improve on that too much. He was able to get a little bit bigger, which is scary. He was able to get stronger, not necessarily faster, but he was able to just, those gifts that made him so unstoppable in college easily translated. With Anthony Richardson, we haven't really seen him be that unstoppable. We definitely did not see him be unstoppable at the college level. So you're going to need to see that. Then you add in the fact that the mechanics are wonky. I think he has a lot more Justin Fields, because that's, to me, is the one thing holding back Justin Fields. Besides the fact that the Bears, before the DJ Moore trade and the Chase Claypool trade, he had nothing around him. Darnell Mooney is okay, but he had nothing really significant around him. When it comes to Justin Fields, now it's like, okay, now you have people around you. Now we need to get your mechanics figured out to where you don't have to just drop back my one guy whose a weapon's not open. Okay, let me take off. Which is very much like Lamar Jackson. But anyway, Anthony Richardson, I think he has a lot more to work on than what Cam Newton came into the league with. So I would lean more towards Justin Fields boogie down, but we'll see how that goes. But I'll be very surprised if would anyone be surprised if Anthony Richardson goes higher than 4th to the Colts? Like, could he somehow break in and break up the whole Stroud Bryce Young thing at the top of the draft? That could be interesting to keep an eye on. Alexandra pulling up. They haven't given Lamar protection, and they have put him in the position to have to run, and they get mad when he gets injured doing what you ask him to do. Yeah, that one line is essentially what the Ravens are doing. The best receivers, we've tried to navigate it. Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins, Dez Bryant, Deshaun Jackson. And 3 of those 4 were past their prime when they were Ravens. Those are the best wide receivers he's had. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. I mean, what if he didn't even have Mark Andrews? Like, I just don't know. I just don't know what is that offense without Mark Andrews? Like, if he didn't have the reliable Mark Andrews, like, I don't know how that would have gone for Lamar. So, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So Lamar is speaking, and this is where the blue check boys now have to eat crow, because they kept begging over the last month and change. Lamar needs to tell us what he wants. Lamar needs to tell us this. Lamar needs to say this and say that. Now he's taken the narrative and the control of his own voice and putting it out here. Now, again, he's answering this anonymously. He's not really calling out anybody in particular, but this is one of the main narratives. Is that, he sat out. He could have came back. He let his team down. He didn't want to play hurt, da-da-da-da. And he's like, well, I'd rather have 100% PCL than go out there and play horrible, which is reasonable, respectable. Tua Tagovailoa held himself out. He had to report his own concussion at the very end. The Dolphins didn't even know it. The team doctors couldn't even catch it. Tua had to hit them up and say, yo, it's been a few days. I'm still sensitive to light, all types of the symptoms. We might need to go do some more tests. I might have another concussion. Players have to assess themselves these days. When you see these franchises that are valued for billions of dollars and their training staffs are getting F minuses, yeah, you better self-diagnose yourself, dog. You better take it upon yourself to self-diagnose yourself. Real talk. And then there was someone who put out here, Lamar Jackson's career stats versus the coaches of teams who have publicly said they are not interested in him. I'm going to take a look at these numbers. 142 dropbacks, 121 attempts. He has completed 78.5% of those passes, with 95.9% of those passes on target, which means only 4% of those were off target. And we round up on this stream, so 9 yards per drop back. I mean, you can see the numbers. And then we even have the rushing stats if you want those. That's not a lot of rushing yards. For all the people that say he's a runner first and a passer second, that's not a lot of rushing yards. But, and this is Lamar's reaction. I can't wait to see you all. Hi, Arthur Blank. Can't wait to see you. Ron Rivera. Can't wait to see you. Woody Johnson. Have fun with A-Raj for a year, maybe 2. Can't wait to see you. Bob Kraft, if he tricks it off after Meek Mill hits him up. Hi, Bill. Like, it's real, man. This is real. I love him speaking because this is what, when you don't have an agent, right? This is one of the things of not having an agent. When you do not have an agent, you can't have someone pushing your narratives for you. That's one of the things an agent is supposed to do, right? At least a good one anyway. And let's be clear, there's not a lot of good ones, okay? There's a lot of agents out there. That doesn't mean that there's a lot of good ones. That's why you see some of the same agents get some of the same big time players over and over and over, because there's not that many new, young, fresh agents that's taking over the game. So the reason why you have an agent besides negotiating contracts is push your agenda, push your narratives, have the media connects, have the PR connects, have the marketing connects to get your voice and your opinion out there. And here we go with Lamar out here saying, I can't wait to see you all, with the wink emoji. He's making the list and he's checking it twice. He don't got to wait for December to hand out those gifts. He could do them starting in September. So I can't wait to see it. I hope we get a lot more of this from Lamar. And Lamar's got some popular backing. Y'all man's Prime, Coach Prime, who's out there on Boulder, building a potential dynasty via NIL and whatever other ways you can build a team. Maybe one day we'll be able to get to talk on that. But let me hit the comments first. Boogie Down. To me, Lamar has been the only elite dual threat QB that has worked on his craft and tried to improve as a passer. Guys like Vic and Cam rely too much on their physical gifts. Yes to Cam. I think Vic had to, once he had to go sit down for them dogs, right? Once Vic had to go sit down because of them dogs when he came back, and he came back as an Eagle with Andy Reid, oh, that boy was throwing the pill then. He was spinning the pill. I mean, he always had the arm. The arm strength was never a thing. It was, can you put him in a system that's not run first? In Atlanta, that system was, Mike, do whatever you got to do to get us 10 yards and a first down. Do whatever you got to do. And he did it. After he came out, and he was still fast, but he wasn't Atlanta fast. He then had to adjust, and Andy Reid, being the savant that he is, made sure to coach him up and put him in a system that showed off that arm. You remember that game on Monday night against Washington? All them damn touchdowns? I remember that game. That shit was phenomenal. So I'll push back just on that piece. I think Vic, whether through force or through his own will, however which way we had to get there, I think he got there, and you saw that especially in Philly. Alexandra, stats don't lie, numbers do. Word. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Ball don't lie, stats don't lie. I mean, this right here is very emphatic. Very emphatic when you're able to line up and be able to put these numbers together and see how ridiculous these numbers are. And these are analytics. And because of Lamar's alleged inaccuracy, his inaccuracy doesn't fare well when you put it up against analytics. Well, here are these analytics, and these analytics look damn good to me. Maybe because Lamar's not as inaccurate as people will lead you to believe. People are picking and choosing certain stats to make their arguments and just ignoring glaring stats that show the contrary. But Coach Prime went out there to support Lamar in his way. And if you remember on draft night, Deion interviewed Lamar right after he got drafted, and he fell down to the 31st pick and all of that. And, it was believed that Lamar would go way higher, and Prime did his Prime stuff on TV, tried to, hype him up, pump him up. And, Coach Prime chimes in, stop explaining yourself to fools and allow fools to be fools. A brother that's strong, believes in himself, and willing to stand for what he believes will always be, okay, this is a very run-on sentence. A brother that's trying to, someone gets Prime phone for him. Someone get Prime phone from him. A brother that's strong, comma, believes in himself, and willing to stand for what he believes. There should be another comma there. Will always be misunderstood and judged by fools of all ethnicities. Love you, my brother, and I believe in you. Hashtag Coach Prime. Coach Prime is even out here recruiting, even when, Lamar's going through his thing. Always be recruiting. That is the Prime way. Never miss opportunity to get his name out there under a big story and bring some attention to wherever he's at. This time it's Boulder, Colorado. Boogie down. Something tells me Lamar might win MVP again this year. If he plays, we got to make sure he plays. If Baltimore stop playing around, then maybe. If he goes somewhere that has weapons, oh yeah. With him, that winky face, the winky face emoji, that could be him thinking the same thing, Boogie down. Could be thinking the same thing. Alexander's chiming in. Let me clear this one off the screen. Let's see. Alexander, just give him $150 million guaranteed over 3 years. That is a little over $50 million a year. And then let him go if you don't want him. Lamar can go elsewhere. It's not that hard. I wish it were that easy. I wish you were in the Ravens front office. I mean, and allegedly, if you let the Ravens tell it, they've already offered him more than that in terms of guaranteed money. They're saying they already offered him what they said, 170, 180? They said they offered him 170 to 180, and he said no. Now, Lamar refuted that. So take that for what it is. But from the Ravens POV, they're insinuating they already offered him that kind of money or more than 150. So, it's hard to trust any of these reports, to be quite honest with you, because, again, like I've been trying to preach here on the stream, is a lot of what you see is biased information, is information being fed to these insiders, to these analysts, so on and so forth. So certain insiders have ins with, team management, front office executives, scouts, training staff, so on and so forth. That's where they're getting their tea from. And some insiders have the insights from the agent perspective, from the player perspective, from someone in their camp, the player's camp perspective. That's their sources. So there's very few insiders that give you straight neutral information. Most of the information that's being given to us as insider stuff or sources close or whatever, it's always slanted one way or the other, either slanted towards the team biases or towards the players' biases. Boogie down. I wish Lamar was paired up with an offensive-minded guru like an Andy Reid. He'd break all kinds of records. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. I mean, Andy Reid did wonderful things with McNabb. I mean, he even made Alex Smith look mobile for a couple of years while they, before he handed the keys off to Mahomes. So, yeah, no, Andy Reid is him. There's a lot of gurus that aren't really gurus. And for a while there, with all the failures of the Eagles in the NFC Championship games, it was looking like he was shaky in the light. But he has, since then, with the Vic move and getting him back on track, and even better than he was as a thrower in Atlanta, to then sliding over to KC and doing things with Alex Smith, and then obviously Mahomes. And, Mahomes had some mechanic stuff to work out too now. Mahomes didn't walk into this league like what he is now. Like, the mechanics, that's the thing. Like, once they have the physical acumen and the mental capability to do the position, all you have to do is just tinker with the mechanics. If you look at the mechanics of Mahomes from Texas Tech to now, night and day. Night and day. It's not a gigantic thing. Like, if you just watch one highlight versus another, you really have to watch the mechanic of him throwing. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's different. That's not the same. And, yeah, Andy Reid. All right, so now Lamar does have some blue check boys in his corner. I've been talking about alleged collusion with the NFL owners and front office executives towards blocking Lamar. And it's been pushed as a narrative of, oh, we're just salty about Lamar. Oh, there's racial stuff there. I'm not saying any of that. I just feel as though all these teams are openly saying no Lamar because they don't want him to break the bank and change how the system is being run. So JLC, Jason Lockenfora, I believe he's still with CBS. Yeah, no, he's not with CBS. He's with Odyssey. Oh, he's doing strictly radio now. Washington Post. Okay. A list of quarterbacks whose presence teams have used as cover for not pursuing Lamar Jackson. Okay, so in essence, these are teams that could, should, would be in on Lamar, but since they have these quarterbacks, they're saying no to Lamar. So we have Howell and Brissett, that's Washington. Purdy and Trey Lance, that's San Francisco. Ritter, that's Atlanta. Goff, that's Detroit. Panthers have the number 1 pick. Texans have the 2nd pick. Colts have the 4th pick. Mac Jones, that's the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers, we know that's going to happen with the Jets. And then Miami with Tua. All of these are teams that, in essence, would be better right now with who they have with Lamar Jackson, but instead are choosing to fall back on these options as opposed to pursuing a trade for Lamar Jackson. And I know, oh, but then you got to pay him. Well, Denver just did it to go get their franchise QB. The Browns just did it. The Jets are about to do it. You have to give up draft capital to get a QB if you're not fortunate enough to draft one and build them up. It's weird how we're just ignoring history. Like this literally happened last year and has happened before. When the Chiefs traded for Joe Montana, even if you want to go back in the day, the Chiefs traded for Joe Montana. They had to give up collateral and pay him. So I don't understand why this is it's being used as such a new concept of, oh, well, I mean, man, you got to pay him all this money and give up picks. Yeah. You want a franchise QB, don't you? You think you shouldn't have to do that? If another team has a guy you feel is good enough to be your franchise QB, you don't think you would have to give up multiple picks and pay him? Huh? Where they do that at? What other position? Like, you're not going to do that for a running back. I mean, teams have been more willing to do it with running backs. But again, those are funny money contracts. QB is, I think, and I stand firmly in this, quarterback is the one position in this sport of football, in this league of the NFL, where you can demand and get fully guaranteed money. A left tackle can't do it. A stud defensive lineman can't do it. None of these other positions that we hold in high regard can do it. Only the quarterback position. You think at his peak Patriot Brady, you don't think he could have gotten, if he would have held firm and told Bob Kraft, I want it all. No funny money. I'm not restructuring. I'm not taking a salary cut just so you could go bring in or give Chandler Jones some money. I'm not doing any of that, dogs. I want my money. You don't think Bob Kraft would have bent the knee? You think in New Orleans with Drew Brees after that Super Bowl, if he wanted his money fully guaranteed, they wouldn't have given it to him? You don't think Benson would have bent the knee? The Colts and Peyton? But because in their mind they're so stuck to this archaic system of, well, it's just not possible. But why isn't it possible? Kirk Cousins changed the game and there was not one ripple in the industry. Kirk Cousins changed the game and there was no hot takes. There was no tweet threads about how this is a travesty, why he should do this and do that, and he had an agent do it. But there was none of the vitriol that we're seeing about Lamar Jackson. None of this was happening for Kirk Cousins when he got the first fully guaranteed contract. Then Deshaun goes out there and gets the deal, gets the mega deal, akin to a supermax in the NBA and MLB and hockey, i.e. every other sport that's worth a damn in this country. They're all able to get fully guaranteed contracts, except this one, the one that makes the most money. Figure that one out for me. Anyway, it's weird, man. It's just really, really weird. We'll go to Alexandra in the comments. Kraft would have given Brady whatever money he wanted. That's facts. That's facts. Peak Brady? Yeah. After that undefeated year, even after that loss to the Giants, you think he couldn't have marched that near and held out? Now, the fact of what Brady is that he just had that acumen of team first, team success. Like, he bought into the whole Patriot way stuff, but what if he didn't? What if he was on that type of time like, no, Bill, I've given you how many Super Bowls for the low? Or at least below market value? Because was Brady ever the highest paid player in the league? I don't believe so. All them rings? And he was never the highest paid guy in the league? Peyton Manning damn sure was. He only had 2 of them things. And that second one, in that one in Denver, he didn't even win the champion. They didn't even win it because of him. So I don't know, man, but I think this right here is a great breakdown of, you tell me there's no collusion, then explain this list to me. Howell and Brissett in Washington, Purdy and Lance in San Francisco, Desmond Ridder, who played all of 4 games and is a 3rd-round pick. And the Falcons are standing 10 toes down saying, he's our guy next year. Off of what? And we brought up the stats yesterday of how those stats were mid. Those 4 games, he was mid. Nothing exceptional. Nothing like, oh, wow. Look at what. No, it was none of that. None of that. Jared Goff in Detroit. Look, the Panthers had to trade up to get the pick. I mean, I guess if you think you'd rather have a rookie and rebuild, sure. I mean, if I'm Lamar, I wouldn't want to go there anyway, especially now with no DJ Moore. So, okay, cool. Houston, same deal. There's no one there. So, cool. So, I think Carolina and Houston, I wouldn't put them here. But you could certainly say Lamar Jackson's better than Bryce Young and CJ Stroud right now, and probably will be for the next few years. So, it is what it is. But QB 4th to Indy. Lamar is certainly better than Anthony Richardson, or if the Colts go crazy and try to get Levis here, he's certainly better than Mac Jones. You can argue, and I know that this could be blasphemous. If Lombardi Leap is still here, this could be blasphemous, but I think you could argue whether Lamar would be a better fit for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. And then Miami and Tua, as we've been talking about, you want to have a guy that's been concussed a lot, or a dude that's coming off a PCL. Give me the dude with the leg injuries or the dude with the head injuries. So collusion, I mean, it's hard to look at this list and tell me this isn't. Back to the comments, Boogie Down. Any other QB that didn't look like Lamar and looks more like, that's for the guarantee. There might have been an issue. I mean, well, here's the only problem with that, right? Is that Deshaun got it. So if Deshaun didn't get it, and let's say Daniel Jones would have gotten fully guaranteed money, then I think there's something to that. But the fact that there's been a white quarterback that's gotten fully guaranteed money in Kirk Cousins, and then there's been a black one that had a lot of stuff. I mean, Deshaun Watson was coming off 2 ACL injuries and all them cases, and he still got fully guaranteed money. So I wouldn't put race in it in that perspective. I think race might be playing in this in other ways, but in that specific case, I wouldn't go there. But I see why you would go there, but I wouldn't go there. Not right now. Now, some other stuff happens, then we can certainly revisit it. Let's see where we at here. Where else do we want to go? Okay, yeah, let's go to Arthur Blank, right? So Falcons owner Arthur Blank told a group of reporters that the Lamar Jackson situation is, quote, very different than Deshaun Watson from a year ago. Blank did mention there's some concern with Lamar's style and how long it could hold up. He brought up the games he's missed over the last 2 years. Each game counts in this business. Each game counts in this business. So all 4 of those Desmond Ridder games counted. He only played 4 out of 17 potential games. Those 4 games counted as opposed to the 10 over 2 seasons that Lamar has missed. Those 10 games that Lamar missed are somehow weighted more than the 12. Oh no, let's do the math right. He played 4 games. The 13 games that Ridder missed. I mean, they're just making stuff up at this point. They're just spinning. They're just, again, it's talking points. And that's why you had Lamar come out here and put this, this part. This could be, I thought this was a subliminal. This could be a response to the Arthur Blank thing. So this tweet here could be a response to Arthur Blank, which would make sense. Each game counts in this business. And if we go to the tweet before that, and then this is just something that I just brought up. Deshaun had 2 ACL tears, but Lamar durability is what they're worried about. You can't make this up. I agree. It's really, really weird. He was coming off 2 ACLs in all them cases, but we're worried about Lamar missing games. It's crazy. And then Kirk Cousins showed up for every game, but he was slightly above average. Didn't stop the Vikings from giving him fully guaranteed money. So again, the owners are just out here spinning whatever narratives they can to try to bring down Lamar and to just try to explain away why they're not trying to go all in on him. So it's just weird. It's just weird. Extremely, extremely weird. There's another comment about it. One had 24 lawsuits against him for sexual misconduct, has torn ACLs, sat out a full year due to contract dispute, and was suspended for nearly a year. The other is a 26-year-old former MVP with a clean criminal record and a 45-16 NFL record. But Arthur Blank has concerns. I mean, what are we doing, man? Like, what are we actually doing? Can't make this up. I mean, this is the same dude who oversaw 28-3, right? This is the same dude that this guy that has 24 lawsuits, torn ACLs, and set out a year because of a contract dispute, and then was subsequently suspended for over almost a full year, the year after that. He was willing to sign him, and he jettisoned the best thing the franchise had post Mike Vick, well, outside of Julio, and Matt Ryan, jettisoned him before he wanted to leave for just the opportunity to get Deshaun Watson. He have 24 lawsuits, torn ACLs, sitting out a full year for a contract dispute, and being suspended for nearly a year after the fact. He got rid of Matt Ryan because he thought he was going to get Deshaun Watson. Had no problem looking past all of this. No problem looking past all of that. No problem. But 26-year-old former MVP, 45-16 NFL record. Oh, but he's missed 5 games each of the last 2 years. Can't do it. Durability issues. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Alexandra, collusion for sure. It's because A, doesn't have an agent, which is bucking the system. B, they want to use injury, but Deshaun has missed the equivalent of 2 seasons, and it gave him a supermax. Yeah, that's It's really coming down to all the reasons you want to say there's not collusion are just starting to less and less. Like it was the thing with Kaepernick. It was the same thing. There were so many people that were so quick to just back the NFL owner's position in regards to, oh yeah, Kaepernick's not even that good. He's thrown, like they brought up completion, but it's the same playbook. Bring up his completion percentage. Bring up the fact of, oh, how can you sign Kaepernick? You're gonna have to change the offense for him. Look at all the offenses now. You know who will be perfect in this era right now? Colin Kaepernick. A Colin Kaepernick style QB would be elite in this era of football. And even in his era, there were other teams that were running that style of offense. Like, it's weird how they keep using the same playbook to keep, bringing down certain players. And it's like, well, just say you don't want him. Just say you don't like him. I'm very much of that proponent. I can agree to disagree with you on that, but I'd rather know that you just don't like him instead of trying to bring up points that could be easily thwarted. Saying that someone is erratic or someone can't throw or misses people when they're open, and then their completion percentage is only 2 points behind or 2 percentage points behind Patrick Mahomes, you can't then keep using that talking point. You just can't. You can't keep using the same talking point when, the touchdown to interception ratio is one of the highest in the league. You can't keep using these same talk points when there's clear metrics, clear data that state otherwise. Just say, you know what? I don't like him as my quarterback. I would respect it. I wouldn't like it, but I would respect it. But to keep lying or to keep moving the goalposts or to keep bending numbers to fit your narratives, it doesn't make sense when there's raw data that says otherwise. What are we doing? Bring the heat. Really, you're only giving up one first-round pick for a QB, and that first would be a low one anyways. Yeah, essentially. Like, that's why I'm surprised. I know it's Woody Johnson, but the Jets should be in on this. If I'm the Jets, I'll be way more willing to give up a first-round pick for Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers, to truth be told. But we know how, or at least I know how, growing up here in New York, New Jersey area, I know how the Johnson family gets down, allegedly. So, Uh-oh. Bring the heat, talking about cap and accuracy. All right. There's always somebody. All right. Let's go ahead and do it. I was hoping we wouldn't have to go there today, but here we go. See? Now, always remember the era. Take into account the era. Was he Drew Brees accurate? No. But this whole thing of... I'm just going to leave it right here. I'm not even going to go 60% completion percentage. Can't just say stuff, man. Sorry, bring the heat. You can't just say stuff. 60% completion percentage. This will be league average today. This is league average today. In his era, this was a good completion percentage. Because you can't compare it to Drew Brees, because Drew Brees was doing a lot of dinking and dunking, quick slants to Michael Thomas. He threw 1 million slants to Michael Thomas. It was barely 2 yards, and he would hit him on the stride. Like, you can't, like, there's a clear difference. Like, you can't just say stuff like, 60%. You see this TD to interception ratio? 72 TDs to 30. Like, stop. Like, come on, man. We can do better. We can do better today. There's data. But everything was thrown out there of, oh, he's this, he's that. Like, come on, man. 60% throughout his career. 62% throughout his career. Come on, man. Even in the year where they said he was bad, for a team that was bad, as you see 1-10, when they said he was bad, it was still roughly 60% and a 16 TD to 4 interception. Like, we know that's 4-1 TD to, like, come on, man. QB rating is upper, because again, you have to count in this era. But, you know, it is what it is, man. Come on. Come on. I did not want to go down that rabbit hole, because I know. I've had that debate in 2016. You know, I was having those debates then of people just, you know, tearing down Kaepernick. I'm like, there's literally information that says he's not this trash. Like, I had people telling me he was trash. Like he wasn't even an NFL worthy quarterback. And I'm like, what are you basing this on? Like, yeah, you can nitpick any quarterback. Drew Brees didn't have a strong arm. We can nitpick the hell out of that. The majority of his passes were dink and dunks. We can nitpick the hell out of that. But there would have never been a scenario where Drew Brees is a literal scammer. Drew Brees scanned people in New Orleans post-Katrina out of a lot of money. There's a video on my channel that talks about it in depth. Just saying, it's a trash narrative. That used to be like my series of airing out certain players and all of that. And you know, it's there. It's there in the channel. If you search on the video tab, you'll see it. There's real data about Drew Brees being a scammer, and he got a job with the league. He was a TV analyst in his playing after his playing career was done. This guy was a literal scammer. But okay. Let's see. We're going to hit back to the comments. Lombardi Leap. Honestly, I think people don't want to do the legwork. For Baltimore, they're waiting until after the draft to do it so that way they can give up. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing. Like, it's getting to that point. I don't think anything gets done for Lamar until, you know, the earliest after this draft. So I think that's kind of where all the tea leaves are kind of pointing to right now, because why would the Jets give up the 13th pick? I mean, I would, but doesn't mean Joe Douglas thinks that same way. Boogie down. Oh, what happened? Boogie down. There we go. Completion percentage and total passing yards are two of the most overrated QB stats when trying to evaluate a QB. Yeah, but they keep using it. They keep using it. But when it doesn't work for them, then they try to find other stats. Like, see how we got Kaepernick with 60% completion percentage. Now that's going to lead people to go look for even deeper stats. Well, in this particular, on 3rd and 8, he is like, dog. No. He said he's not accurate. 60% completion percentage. That's on the level with a lot of the top QBs of his era. So, no. More boogie down. I already did this, but I looked up Joe Montana's passing yards, and Lamar beats him in pretty much every passing category except for passing yards. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. It's a different era for sure, like nowhere near the same era. But yeah, I could see that being a thing for sure. And then also, you know, look who Montana was throwing to. I mean, you give Lamar a current day Jerry Rice and John Taylor and Brent Clark, Roger Craig. Yeah, and away we go. Like, Lamar would be out here with rings like Brady. Let's see. Bring the heat. All right, that's fair. I'm willing to admit it's overblown. I mean, yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, you could certainly, I'm not saying Kaepernick was a perfect QB or was even top tier when all the stuff went down. I'm not even here to argue that. I'm saying the narrative that he's not capable of being a starter, that he wasn't capable of even being in the league. Like, oh, teams are going to have to change their whole systems. Like, what? He can throw. He can run. You can't figure out a system for that? Like, what? Like, it just didn't make a lot of sense. It did not make a lot of sense. So that's my whole point of, like, when people were trying to tear him down, I'm like, you're picking stats that could be easily flipped. Like, I wouldn't do that. But, you know, no shade, bring the heat. No shade. It's all good, bro. So we have all of that. Let's see, where were we? We were in the Falcons and Arthur Blank and airing him out. Do y'all care about Thursday Night Football? And we can still keep talking about Lamar. We can even go back to Jets Packers if y'all want. But just in terms of the show, the NFL announced that teams can now have 2 Thursday Night Football games per season. Limit was 1. Now that's changed. Flexing for Thursday Night Football is not happening for now. And you see Patrick Mahomes out here with the, you know, shaking my head, face palming emoji. Not happy with it. Now, there is Roger Goodell. Where did I have it? Do I still have that? Roger Goodell responded to it. Let me see if I can find that. I may have to search for that. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Can we find it real quick? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, yes. Roger Goodell on Patrick Mahomes tweets, I don't think we're putting Amazon over our players. The data doesn't show higher injury rate. I hear from players who also love the 10 days after a Thursday night game. We have to try to balance all of it. Here's what Raj didn't say. You notice he said he loves the 10 days after a Thursday night game, but do they love the 2.5 days between a Sunday game and a Thursday game? Especially for the away team. That's why I said 2.5. They despise that part, but then they love the 10 days after. Of course, he's choosing his words very carefully. Problematic as hell. George Kittle chiming in. NFLPA, can we not? Thanks. Now, I wish he would do this in charm terms of backing Lamar, but, you know, it's all good. But George Kittle, can we not? Thanks. So, players are not happy about this. Players are stepping out. Players are using their platform. Now, what does all this mean? Not much, because as George Kittle's pointing out, the NFLPA needs to be on their square to fix this. And the owners have to bend to the NFLPA if they want to fix this. Bring the heat up. He's still on Cap. Okay. I will say this about Cap, though. Could have been in the league as a backup, low-tier starter at one point, but from my understanding, he was never a top 15 QB during his time. Bring the heat. Come on, man. I'm just going to go right here to this year. You don't think a quarterback in 2013, so again, consider the year, 2013, who gives you over 30,000 yards, over 20 touchdowns with 8 interceptions, who completes 58% of his passes in an era where 60% is high. And then, do we need to go to the Q? The QB rating was high up there. QBR was solid. Do we need to go down to the rushing? I mean, if you want me to, I will. What year was that? 2013? 2013. And another 500-yard rushing with 4 more touchdowns. I mean, come on, man. That wasn't top 15. In 2013, you can name me that'd be 16, right? You can name me, 15 better quarterbacks in 2013. Do we really need to go to the 2013 passing stats? Let's see. Bring the Heat is making me do this. Just so y'all know, Bring the Heat is making me do this. We don't have the individualized stats. Where's league leaders? Come on. Where's league leaders? Passing. Standard player stats 2013. Okay, here we go. remember, Bring the Heat is making me do this. Peyton Manning in Denver, Drew Brees, Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady. You could probably argue you would take all those QBs over Colin Kaepernick at that time, right? Andy Dalton? Come on, Bring the Heat. You're not taking Andy Dalton. I certainly hope not. I've been respecting your opinions here. I hope you're not going to tell me the Red Rifle in 2013 was better than Colin Kaepernick. Carson Palmer. I mean, this is old Carson Palmer as well. 22 interceptions. Kaepernick had 8. Carson Palmer threw 3 more touchdowns, but threw 14 more interceptions. You telling me Carson Palmer was better in 2013 than Colin Kaepernick? Big Ben, I mean, maybe, but you see that team record though, right? 8-8. Ryan Tannehill. Come on, Bring the Heat. Flacco. Come on, man. These are all guys with double-digit and high double-digit interceptions, by the way, with Kaepernick only with 8. Like, come on, man. Even Romo. Romo was good. I'll give you Romo. Andrew Luck was good. Eli was horrible. 27 interceptions. Cam, you could argue, him and Cam were right there, similar stats. Russell Wilson, similar stats. Alex Smith, like, nah, man, like, Colin was easy top 15. In 2013, Colin was easily top 15. Like, I just don't see it. Like, QB record that year, like, yeah, dogs, like, games started out of QBs who started. Yeah, dogs, like, nah. I can't give that to you, man. I'm sorry, bro. Like, I rocks with you. You know that, but I can't do that. I can't do that. Kaepernick was definitely, in 2013, was definitely top 15, and you could probably parse the numbers to where he could even be top 10. Back half of the top 10 for sure. Not saying he's top 5, but back half of the top 10, you could argue it, and for sure top 15. Just saying. Let's see. Lombardi Leap, Thursday night games are trash. Yeah, they are. Thursday night games are basura. Thursday night games are definitely basura. And I think the interesting part about it is the league and Amazon are clearly in bed, right? Like, clearly. Let me get back to the tweet here. Clearly in bed, and they're trying to figure out how to make this thing work because the games are bad. The home teams usually always win because they don't have to travel between 2.5 days. Like, if you play a Sunday night game and have to play on Thursday, and let's say you're playing Sunday night football on the road, you're not getting back to your home until Monday. Tuesday is supposed to be a rest day, but can you rest when you have a game Thursday? It's an abbreviated week. You're either traveling late Wednesday or early Wednesday, depending on time zone. Like, I can tell you, as you know, I covered the NFL for a whole year, working behind the scenes, and those travel schedules are hectic, extremely hectic, man. So that's, I don't know. Bring the Heat. I don't hate Cap. I just don't think he was consistently as good as people make him out to be. We cool though. Yeah, we cool though, bro. I mean, look, I would never, in 2023, I am not dying on the Colin Kaepernick hill. That's one thing I am not dying on. So, you know, we can agree to disagree. I think he was a lot better than most people thought him to be. I mean, he almost won a Super Bowl. Like, that game against Green Bay happened. That game against the Bears happened. Like, that was not a flash in the pan. He was let down by the team around him at the later part of his career and the inept coaching that he had. But, you know, Harbaugh walked away from him. was all good when Harbaugh was there. But, it is what it is. But trust me, I am not here in 2023 to die on the Colin Kaepernick hill. But it is all good. I appreciate you, and you're always here pulling up and contributing. So I'm always here to make sure we can have a good back and forth and, get our takes off. So here's something to me that I would like to tap in. How many of y'all really rock with Red Zone? And if you rock with Red Zone, whether you're watching this live on the replay, are you Team Hansen or Team Siciliano? Because NFL Red Zone, one of them left. The one on DirecTV is gone. So you're stuck with the one that's on Sunday Ticket or whatever, or the NFL Network one or whatever. So you're getting Scott Hansen, no more Andrew Siciliano. I was a Siciliano guy. Scott Hansen kind of toes the line with the league a little bit too much. He kind of taps in, and I understand you're working for the NFL, so I understand the biases, the built-in biases you have to have, and I had to toe the company line. But I don't know, man. With I don't like that we're stuck with just Scott Hansen. Now, for those who weren't trying to pay for Red Zone and we're finding ways around that, that's going to become a lot harder because you only have one option now. That's the Scott Hansen version. Because I think Red Zone is one of the greatest things ever invented. Being able to sit and watch 7 hours of football with no commercials, I think is a cheat code in life. Because watching a pure, straight football game with commercials, only one game, I never realized until a Red Zone how much downtime there is. And the one football game that I went to as a fan in person, the one NFL game that I went to as a fan in person, I've been to a lot more, working in this industry, but going as a fan, I just realized, when there's commercial breaks on TV, there is literally nothing going on in the stadium. That's why all these stadiums are coming up with, humongous scoreboards and iPads in the goddamn armrest, and they know there's nothing to do for 2.5 to 3.5 minutes every 10 minutes. Out of a 3-hour football game, what they said, like the average is of actual action, it's only like 15 minutes of actual action in a 3.5-hour TV broadcast of a football game. That's a lot of downtime, bruh. So having Red Zone has been amazing to me, but maybe I'm out here on the island, but, just wanted to put that out there that if you do rock with Red Zone, Siciliano's going bye-bye, and we're all stuck with Scott Hansen. Lombardi leap. Yeah, let's not go back to those years of the 49ers whipping up on my pack. Yeah, you remember. You remember. Like, that's the thing about it. Like, that dude was cold. That dude and that team, they really almost stole that Super Bowl. If it wasn't for that blackout in New Orleans, they would have got a chip off. Maybe Harbaugh's still there. It would have been way harder for him to leave with a ring. Tell you that much. What else we got? Boogie Down. I don't think people think Camp was some great top tier QB. If anything, it was underrated. Yeah, I think he was. I think historically he'll be underrated. I think in the moment, like how when like Purdy, the whole Purdy thing took over, and it was like, oh my God, Purdy. But like, it was a similar type energy with Kaepernick because even though he was a second-round pick, he kind of came out of nowhere. And the way that they were using him, like in the pistol, was, very dynamic at the time. And it was very explosive. And it kind of just captivated the mind of, wow, he's not just a running quarterback. He's a running quarterback who could then chuck it 70 yards. As if we didn't see that with Vic, Randall Cunningham, and others like that. But at that point in time, it was very polarizing how dynamic he was. So I think there'll always be two camps, either anti-cap or pro-cap. And, in 2023, I really don't care what side you're on. because, what's done is done. Can't go back and take any of that stuff back. So we know what happened. If you're still not on that type of time of admitting what happened, then that's a whole other discussion. But, if you're telling me you don't think he's that good, that's fine. It doesn't really shake me either way. Cap was an upper mid-tier QB that could take you far with the pieces around. Yeah, he was about to win the Super Bowl. If that blackout doesn't happen, they were on the verge. Alexandra, I see you. I'm going to pull up, see if there's some new tweets here that we could pull up and discuss here before we get too deep in the weeds on this Kaepernick stuff. But let's see. Lions are signing Marvin Jones. Tom Brady's playing football on the beach. Don't fall for it. Yeah, not that much has happened. Nothing with Odell yet. Allen Robinson, does anybody want him? Okay. Alexandra, thoughts on Brock Purdy? I hope he's not a flash in the pan. Obviously his rehab is going to be super important. The timing of when he comes back is going to be super important. But when you have Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, I think that kind of at this point, I would assume it's Trey Lance's job to lose just because of the head start he's going to have with the rehab. It's just being healthier. So I think teams are starting to figure out Purdy at the end there. I think the Philly game, even though he got hurt, I don't think it really changed the outcome of that game. Maybe it wouldn't have been as big of a blowout as it was, but I don't really see Brock Purdy being anything that special. It's very rare that teams are that wrong at that position. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they were all wrong on Brady, but how many other, after the 5th round QBs have become stars? Before Brady, who was the one before Brady? I can't recall it off the top of my head. So he got drafted that low for a reason. I don't think everyone missed that crazy on it. I think he has a great play caller with phenomenal pieces. That's the thing. Even a Brock Purdy can cook when you have a Deebo Samuel, a Brandon Ayuk, a George Kittle, and a Christian McCaffrey, along with a really good offensive line. Even a 7th round, 6th round pick can go back there and cook and get a team to the NFC Championship game. That to me should be exhibit A for every team out there. Just load up your team with stars. Everywhere else, the skill position players, they're called skill position players. How about get some guys with some actual skill at those positions, and then you don't have to go break the bank at QB. And that's not to keep bringing it back to Baltimore and Lamar. That's my biggest problem with Baltimore. You don't want to pay Lamar? Okay, cool. How about you then do the thing of, well, we're just going to pay you this 32.4 and we're going to go give you a bunch of help. You show us that you can carry us on your back like you did by yourself in your first and second year starting. Show us that you can then carry us now with help. Let's go out here and get him a top flight receiver. Let's go out here and give him a dynamic running back that can run the ball and catch the ball. Let's do a lot of that. So he doesn't have to take off and run after looking for his first read. Lamar would drop back, look for that first read. Hollywood's not there. Okay, Hollywood's gone. Okay, Mark Andrews not there. Okay, all right, I'm out. I'm gone. You only got about 3 seconds in the pocket before they own you, even with a good offensive line. So you got to be out. First read, second read. All right, I'm out. I don't know, man. But Brock Purdy, I think Brock Purdy was the benefactor of having ridiculous skill set players, absolutely ridiculous skill set players. And salute to him. Salute to him. Trey Lance, if I'm Trey Lance, I can't wait for training camp, OTAs, voluntary. I'm showed up to everything if I'm Trey Lance because I'm trying to show I want my time now. Purdy got his and he killed it. I want my time now. And don't let Sam Darnold, who I think is not that good, it should not be a starter in this league, but even Sam Darnold might look okay with those weapons. You could get fooled. It happens. Let me see it here. The 49ers plan to have former third overall pick Trey Lance split first team reps with free agent Sam Darnold this offseason. That's a real thing. I don't know. But tell me, Alexander, how do you feel about Purdy? It's a good question. I appreciate that. We could always, I'm always down for a Q&A. Lambeau Leap, you'll take Robinson? Oh, if they cut him. No. They're trying to trade for him. See, update. Rams are still open to trading Allen Robinson. So you're going to have to trade for him and take on that contract. So I don't know if he's getting cut. I don't know if the Rams are going to eat that salary. Let's see. We go back to the comments here. I see, Alexandra back at it. Yeah, I'm with you on the skill position players. I'm not a huge Baker Mayfield person, but if the Bucks build a line and let him use Goodwin, Evans. Yeah, okay, so you're a Bucks fan. Okay. I like to know what teams y'all root for, so, in case I got some shade to throw y'all way, I know who to direct it to. Okay, so the Bucks. Yeah, I am definitely not a Baker guy. That 7-minute video of him constantly missing Odell Beckham, I think, is the biggest detriment to his career. I know he had a couple of he had one comeback win with the Panthers, right? That kind of like resurrected his reputation or whatever. But yeah, I am not the biggest Baker guy. But I'll tell you this, Alexandra, y'all might be getting the steal of the draft. And I know that's that's a strong thing to say, but based off the mock draft I've been pulling up here and been using for the last week or so, they got y'all taking a running back at 19. And I'm very much in favor of who you're going to get. And that running back will go a long way towards making your guy, Baker Mayfield, look real good. So let's go ahead and go back to this. Bijan Robinson. I am a big Bijan Robinson guy. If the Lions are silly enough to let him go at 18 and y'all get him at 19, I think he starts right away. And the loss of Fournette really won't look like a loss because he is way more dynamic than Leonard Fournette. So I think the Bucs could do some good things here if they just hold firm, assuming no one jumps over them and assuming no one before them reaches. Like, I don't know who of this bunch. No, the Saints, the Eagles won't do it. I don't think the Titans would do it since Derrick Henry hasn't been traded yet. Texans, no, they wouldn't do it. Jets would not. Patriots, no. Green Bay, let Lombardi leap. Do you see them taking a running back here? I know Aaron Jones and, they got Dillon and all that, but Bijan Robinson, I'm just saying, Bijan's a future star in this league, in my opinion. Washington won't do it. Steelers won't do it. Yeah, I think the only worry is I think the Lions. The Lions potentially could. I think they should take Bijan if he's there, but if they don't do it, and if no one doesn't trade up in front of the Bucs to get him, I would take him at 19 and be very happy. Very happy. Boogie Down. Do you think Shanahan's ego is what's preventing the Niners from being interested in Lamar? Shanahan is known for being successful with bottom-tier QBs. With Lamar Jackson, people will know he's the reason for success. No. I was about to say yes and no, but I'm just going to drop that yes. I don't think it's his ego getting in the way. I don't know if Shanahan would know what to do with all of that. Like, I think his system is predicated on your QB, as you mentioned, being the bottom tier. I don't know if his system works, and people could bring up Matt Ryan in that 1 year in Atlanta where Matt Ryan was MVP, but I'm looking past that because before that, well, certainly after that, it didn't work as good. The numbers were inflated, but the success wasn't as good. I don't know if Lamar fits, like the whole narrative of Lamar in a system. I just don't know if Shanahan knows how to call plays for that type of quarterback. Because remember, he had RG3, and he didn't really know what to do with that either. So I don't know if a Lamar type QB works. Like, I would have to see it before I just blindly believe it. So I don't think it's ego. I just, as clearly an outsider, I just don't know if I'm that confident in that system with Shanahan's experience with a running QB or a dual threat mobile QB. I just don't know if I have that much confidence in his system working for that type of quarterback. Lombardi Leap. I'm not a Baker fan either, but Cleveland ruins QBs, all of them. It is a factory of sadness. Yeah, it has been. But Tim Couch back in the day. Yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad, all the QBs that have gone through Cleveland. Jacoby Brissett, who just keeps bouncing around. It's been bad. It's been bad. I think they're good now, though. I think they're good. As much as we've been comparing Lamar and Deshaun to Kirk Cousins and all that, I think they're good. They're good now at QB. How good? Low key, they've had a really good offseason. They've had a really good, I mean, to put Elijah Moore opposite Amari, I like that. They brought back Njoku, right? I think they brought back Njoku. Still got Chubb in the backfield. I don't know, did Kareem Hunt leave? I know they were they almost traded him at the deadline. I'm not sure what's going on with Kareem Hunt. He might be a free agent. Maybe the Browns are in the mix. But they don't have any picks, though. Do they even have a second? Nope. They had to give that up for Elijah Moore, right? Yeah, so their draft was Elijah Moore. Deshaun Watson and Elijah Moore is their draft. But, yeah. Alexandra agreed. Robinson is a steal. Yeah, I'm really big on Robinson. I think Robinson could definitely do some things. I like him a lot. I think, Bomani Jones compared him to Marshall Faulk. I don't know if I would go that far. That's tremendous high praise. I mean, that's like immortal, arguably Mount Rushmore running back type praise. But he's going to be really good. Lombardi Leap and Bring the Heat. I see you. Let me just see what we can navigate here on the screen here. Let me see. Uh-oh. I did not see this earlier, but apparently this dropped this morning. But let me get to y'all comments first. But we got some stuff on Lamar to the Patriots and some conflicting reports. Lombardi Leap, I like him, but I'd be super surprised if a running back goes in the first because they don't value that position. I agree with you, but I think Bijan is I think he's the one of this class. If there was a running back to go in the first round, I think Bijan Robinson is the one, for sure. And then let me get to Bring the Heat. Running back and tight ends just are valued in the first like they used to be. I mean, where running backs used to go number one overall back in the day. Like tight ends, I think have been elevated for sure. But running backs used to be it back in the day. I mean, Kajana Carter, all those types of running backs used to be number one with a bullet back in the day, or at least top five. Easy top five pick if you were the best running back. But yeah, it's all about passing now. Air it out. Can you drop back 40 times and complete 60 to 65% of your passes? And can you be mobile enough to move around or be dual threat and give me another 500 yards rushing? That is what the game has become. But contrary to Meek Mill hitting up Bob Kraft, The Patriots will not go after Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, a source tells this blue check boy, whoever this is. Let's see. Jeff Howe, NFL insider for The Athletic. Owner Robert Kraft recently revealed that Jackson is interested in joining the Pats, according to a text exchange from one Meek Mill. Bring the heat. Adrian Peterson, one of the GOATs. Yeah, on the field, he's one of the GOATs. Off the field, not so much, unfortunately. But yes, Adrian Peterson, one of the GOATs. All right, let's see what else we can find here before we wrap up. How long we been in? We've been in about an hour and 40. All right. Cruising. To see the more y'all contribute, the easier this is for me to just stay on here and let's keep chopping it up. So, you know, when these early streams, it was just me and maybe two other people. It was rough. But now we're actually building a community, building an audience, and I appreciate those who have hit the like button. I appreciate those who have subscribed, and looking to keep building upon that. So let's see. Yeah, there's not that much left. I'll do one quick cruise. Blue Check Boys are quiet at the moment. We're on the eve of baseball, for those who care about that. Here's something. Here's a contrarian to the Lamar thing. I don't know who Bobby DePaul is. I don't know if that's someone I should know. But Bobby is out here. Who is Bobby? Former NFL and college coach, NFL college and pro scout, over 25 years of professional football experience, played football at the University of Maryland. Okay, so he has a lot of ties in the Maryland area. He is saying, Lamar, you are a Raven, no doubt about it. What? You're a Raven, no doubt about it. But the facts are the facts. 34% missed playing time the last 2 years, mainly in December when it counts. Signed a short-term deal for 3 years, but ask for no tag at the end. If you deliver goods, you hit free market young, and it could be huge. This is the problem I have with this type of take, and this is a very generic take, and it's a take that's been spreading all over the place. How can you tell him to take a short-term 3-year deal when you're also bringing up the fact that he's missed so much playing time? So what's a short-term deal going to do for him? If you're telling me he's so injury-prone, then why is it beneficial for him to sign a 3-year contract and then hope to get another deal on the back end when he's 29 years old? So you want him to prove it for 3 more years, as if he hasn't proven it already, as if he hasn't been a MVP already, as if he hasn't been on the cover of Madden already, as if he doesn't have one of the most popular jerseys in the league already. But I mean, come on, man. Let's forget the training staff was an F-. Let's forget that players have been misdiagnosed and have been re-injured. Let's forget that multiple Ravens have requested trades away from that organization that have been homegrown in their system. Let's look past all of that and let's just keep locking in on you've missed 5 games each of the last 2 years. It's such a lazy narrative. So lazy. I can't stand that narrative. So lazy. And just, it lacks depth. It lacks nuance. It doesn't acknowledge all the stuff that is clearly happening behind the scenes that have also been reported. I'm not giving you some insider tea. This is all information that I have pulled up here on this live stream with reporting. We showed you the tweets from Matthew Judon and other current and former Ravens all tearing down the training staff, saying that they're trash. But you know, Lamar's injury prone. Silly. Alexandra, back in the day of running backs Emmitt Smith, Yeah, he was one of those. He was a middle round pick. He was a middle of the first round guy. Yeah, Emmitt Smith was out here. Now, the real question is Emmitt Smith on the Mount Rushmore? Emmitt Smith is very polarizing. A lot of people don't feel Emmitt Smith was really that good. A lot of people feel as though Emmitt Smith took advantage of having a dominant offensive line and a run-first offensive scheme, and it was more or less a compiler. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you the arguments I've heard over the years about Emmitt Smith. I'm actually working on a video where I used ChatGPT. I was out here early on that, but I was using ChatGPT to settle GOAT debates. So I used ChatGPT to do LeBron versus Jordan. I use ChatGPT to do Ken Griffey versus Barry Bonds. And the football one I was going to do was going to be ChatGPT, who was better or who's the GOAT of the 90s running backs, Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith. Still working on that one, still trying to navigate to have some time to be able to do that video. But yeah, Emmitt Smith is very polarizing. Very, very polarizing. Boogie down. Do you think Justin Fields takes a Jalen Hurts type jump this season? He better. They got him help. They got him help. I mean, DJ Moore is a top tier receiver. You would assume Chase Claypool with a full offseason to learn the playbook, to get a rhythm with Justin Fields. I don't think Chase Claypool is done. He's too damn young in his career to be done. He's a big target. Like the Bears have done something in my Bears fandom back in the day that they never did. They gave their quarterback weapons. The only other time in my lifetime the Bears gave their quarterbacks weapons, it was Eric Kramer when he had Curtis Conway, and who was the other one? Jeff Graham. Jeff Graham and Curtis Conway. That was the last time the Bears had two really good receivers. That's like 90s, bruh. It's 30 years ago. Like that's why I'm like, oh wow, they got DJ Moore. Like I was live on the stream when it happened. I said, wait, the Bears actually did a good trade? They're actually giving a quarterback weapons? Holy shit. Like I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. So yeah, I think Justin Fields could take that type of leap this year. Now the offensive line is nowhere near as good as the Eagles. So that's why I'm a little surprised. And we'll go to the draft here. You know, earlier, like a week or so ago, they did not have the Bears drafting an offensive tackle. This makes more sense now that they're going to take Paris Johnson Jr., who is a monster of a man from the Ohio State University. That makes more sense. But, you know, before that, they had them, you know, Jalen Carter was still in the mix. And there was another defensive player. I don't see him. Wasn't Murphy. Who was it? Was it Wilson? I don't know who it was. It was either Jalen Carter or somebody else over the last few weeks at 9 for the Bears. But this makes more sense because that offensive line is nowhere near what the Eagles are putting out there. So that makes more sense to me. I'm not mad at it. I'm here for it. So if they do that, then I think Justin Fields can take a step. MVP-like Jalen Hurts, I don't know, but he could definitely take a big jump. For sure could take a big jump. Let's see, where were we? Which thing were we on? Yep, okay. Let's go back to the comments. Bring the heat, bro. That training staff was trash, but want that money now too. Yeah, I mean, I that's the part that's really, really weird to me, Bring the Heat, is that if any of us were in his shoes, we would want the same thing. If any of us were in his shoes, imagine money's not an issue, because money, in essence, is not an issue for Lamar anymore, right? He's gotten paid. He's done sponsorships, all that type of stuff, right? Money's not an issue. But now it's about my standing in this league, which is an industry upon itself. So I need to be able to get my value and be able to be recognized amongst my peers as one of the best. I've achieved the highest individual award you can in this industry as an MVP, right? So therefore, Mahomes got a couple. Josh Allen don't got none. Joe Burrow don't got none. Justin Herbert don't got none. Deshaun Watson don't got none. Kirk Cousins don't got none. All these QBs that are held in higher regard financially and otherwise than Lamar Jackson, they don't have that award. So I should get paid for achieving that status. I gave that to y'all on a rookie deal. And I had a good follow-up year the year after that, where it was a negligible drop-off. So what are we talking about here? Yes, the last 2 years he's gotten hurt, but especially last year, if you look at what he was doing right before he got hurt, he was having a damn good year. There are people that are being paid a lot of money on TV or in podcasting, whatever, that was saying Lamar had a terrible year last year. I'm like, well, what games were they watching? Was it an alternate universe? Were they in the metaverse? I don't know what games they were looking at. Because the games that I watched, and then the way that I do things, because I look at everything from an analyst perspective. So when I talk about NBA, I'm watching those games. And I'm not just watching them once. Like, I watch the game, then I go on League Pass and I watch the condensed version of the game. And then I go look at highlights. Like, I'm breaking it down like multiple times. I don't just watch a game once and, all right, I know everything that happened. To me, as someone that's an analyst and has been going on, I was on ESPN Radio today breaking down games. Like, this is what I do, right? Like, I do this. So when it comes to football, it's the same thing. I'm watching games multiple times. I'm not just watching it on Red Zone and now I know everything about the game. Watch it on Red Zone. If I have time for the all 22, go through the all 22. If I can go on and get the condensed version, go through that. Then you comb through stats. Like, it's a lot of layers to this process. It's not just I'm looking at the box score and then I'm making a judgment call and I'm going to stand 10 toes down off reading numbers off of a website. Like, I don't do that. So the fact that there are a lot of people getting away with that in this industry is really pathetic. And a lot of these opinions are based off of that little knowledge. And that's why we get horrible takes like that. Lombardi Leap. How do you feel about JSN? I hope the Pack get a chance to take him at 15. Oof, he's still going to be there? Be ironic, though, if they get a late. Yeah, I mean, JSN is a beast. Very high on JSN. If you don't know who that is, that's Jackson Smith and Jigba. Another guy from Ohio State. Obviously coming off the injury, so you got to figure that stuff out. But they got him going 12, bruh. But again, this isn't no Mel Kiper or McShay, and even whoever those guys, whoever they have him going, like, we still don't know. But JSN, he has all the abilities. He's a great route runner. He's great out the break. I like a lot about JSN. So whoever gets him, like, low key, if Paris Johnson Jr. isn't there for the Bears and they don't like Skoransky, I would take JSN and just load up on offense. Now I already said Justin Fields has no excuse, but if the Bears run out here with DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, and JSN, oh, the monsters of the Midway are back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be, yeah, I'm picking them in Madden every game. I'm picking them in Madden. So I think if he's there at 15, would the Patriots really pass on him, though? Because they got to get Mac Jones some help. If the whole Lamar thing is a smokescreen, they have to give Mac Jones some help. I know they like Joey Porter Jr. A lot of teams are high on Joey Porter Jr. Obviously, the acumen is there, but I think JSN is one of those. I would be interested in taking him. Back to the comments. Alexandra. I would say he was considering all the things. I would say he was, considering all the things the Cowboys achieved with him. So in terms of, you mean Emmitt Smith, right? So you're saying he is one of those ones, like he is on the Mount Rushmore because of the fact he was part of the triplets and they got three Super Bowls? Okay. I think I'm gonna do that video real soon. I think because I've been talking so much football on this stream, on these live streams the last few weeks, it's gotten me back into that NFL mode. I kind of go back and forth between NBA and NFL, but we've been tapped in on this NFL stuff. I think it might be time for me to go ahead and just do that video. Emmitt Smith versus Barry Sanders. Who does ChatGPT or whatever AI I decide to use, who do they have as being the best? All right, but come off that for a sec. Bring the heat. I'll hate on the Cowboys anytime I can. I mean, hey, look, they're polarizing. They're America's team somehow still in 2023. But yeah, they are a team that's extremely polarizing. So it's a love-hate relationship with the Cowboys. I think they do a lot for the league in terms of who they are and the cachet that they bring and the way that people, gravitate towards them and want to talk about them. I think the media sometimes takes advantage of that by talking about them too damn much because not everybody wants to live and die with all the Cowboys news. But I understand they have so many fans that, it's better to just service them than the little pockets of all the other franchises nationally. But yeah, it's a thing in this industry. Trust. Boogie down. People who run with the lazy mainstream Lamar narrative never liked Lamar in the first place, hence why they run with those lazy narratives, takes of Lamar, because reference what they thought. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people weren't high on Lamar. They thought he was a running back that could throw a little bit. That's a real thing, sadly. I mean, and it wasn't even a thing of what stood out to me about Lamar at Louisville. It's the fact that they ran a pro-style offense with Pacino. And if you listen to reports, Lamar's mom was not for play. Like, she always intended him to be a big-time quarterback, not just a running quarterback, but a true, a new definition of what the QB role looks like. And again, if you look at the QBs that are coming behind him, they're all in his mold. They're all like him and Mahomes. There's Mahomes over here, and then there's Lamar over here. Let me get it in camera. Over here. All these QBs that are coming, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, next year with, 2 years, Caleb Williams. They're all, next year. Yeah, next year with Caleb Williams, they're all varying degrees within that, right? Like, that's the future. The drop-back quarterback is dead. It's dead. You can't be Drew Bledsoe back there. You can't be Phillip Rivers back there. You can't be Eli Manning back there. Those days are done. You got to be able to move. So you're either going to be on the Lamar spectrum or the Mahomes spectrum. You all have to fit within that. Even you, Will Levis. Alexandra, if Justin Fields doesn't make a jump, he's done. Man, we're going to Josh Rosen him already? Yes and no. Yes and no. I think, because then there's the Bears play calling. Just because they have the talent doesn't mean that the plays are going to work. We've seen that happen too, where there's a lot of talent on the field and for whatever reason, plays ain't working. So you need that. It has to be a lot of, synergy. The QB has to be hitting. The skill plays have to be hitting. The OC has to be hitting. Like, everything has to work for it to go. The Eagles hit a lick. Everything was clicking. Everything. And there was a lot of people doubting him. I would know because I took a futures bet on the Eagles to make the Super Bowl, and your boy cashed out. Because it was like plus 1,000, something like that. And I was like, oh, they don't believe. Well, I believe because I know how good Jalen Hurts is. And I was a big A.J. Brown fan. I don't know what the hell the Titans were doing and traded him. So I was like, oh, no. You giving Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith? Oh, and Goddard? Oh, and Sanders and Boston Scott and Gainwell? Oh, no. And that O-line? Oh, no. And the easiest schedule in the NFC East? Oh, no. Easy money. Boogie down. Barry Sanders, the GOAT of running back. Certainly of my era. I mean, there's some that come close. There's a lot of Marshall Faulk people. Is Derrick Henry in the conversation? It's a lot of running backs, man. It's a lot of running backs. But certainly of the last 30, 40 years, Barry Sanders probably tops most lists in terms of favorite. Favorite doesn't mean best, though. But he's in the conversation. I can't wait to do that video. I'm going to do that video and see how, hopefully y'all like that. Lombardi Leap. Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey would like to have a word. Hey, man, you're sleeping on Curtis Conway, man. Curtis Conway and Jeff Graham. When it comes to a Bears QB having weapons and they had Matt Forte. Yeah, but the QB was Jay Cutler. So, and what did the Bears do? B. Marshall forced his way out, and then they didn't want to pay Alshon Jeffrey. And then they used up Matt Forte, right? So, yeah, that was, no. I get it. I know that sounds good on paper. And I definitely do not want to go into deep dive of Bears offenses because it would hurt some of y'all feelings. It would hurt some of y'all feelings to see how a professional franchise could have such inept offenses year after year after year. A year later, they got Martellus Bennett too. And what happened? Bennett wasn't that good for them. See, that's the thing. You're bringing up players that sound good and performed well in other places, just not that great in Chicago. Marshall was good in Chicago. I'll give him that because he had his boy. He had Jay Cutler force feeding him the rock. He had like 1 million targets every goddamn game. So, See, Alexander's pulling up. Alexander, as a Bucks fan, you riding with the Jags as a sleeper? Have they done anything in free agency? Have they done anything in free agency? Let's see. I don't know what the Jags have done, to keep it a buck with you. I haven't heard that much about the Jags, but yeah. Alexander's riding with the Jags as a sleeper. Let's see. I mean, outside of your man's Ridley, I don't know what else. Yeah, that was a trade, so let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's okay. He's okay. Mondo, he's okay. Like, none of these, Dearness Johnson, I don't know. Like, Trey Herndon, yeah, I don't know. Like, unless you're a big belief in just Trevor Lawrence taking another step just off the strength of him evolving, then I guess, but I think there's some holes there to fill. Offensively, and this may sound weird, I think they could use another receiver. I don't think Ridley's that answer either. They got them taking an edge rusher. I mean, Nolan Smith, I actually like him. He's pretty good off the edge. Defense is always going to be their bugaboo, though. Yeah, I don't know. In that division, I don't know. Could be, though. Could be, though. Let's see. All right. We've been here 2 hours. I will go for another 5 minutes. So let's do it, because I got some things I actually have to do this evening. So if you want to go for another few minutes, do some rapid fire Q&A, I am here for it. But nothing else is happening in the football world. Everything is kind of chill. No news has broken since we've been on the stream. I'm refreshing pages just to make sure. Checking with the blue check boys to make sure we're not missing nothing. No, we're not missing anything as of right now. So y'all let me know if y'all have anything. If not, then we'll just tiptoe out of here and we'll run this back tomorrow. Again, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Nothing new on the Commanders and them being sold. Just a $6 million bid was submitted. Doesn't mean that Daniel Snyder has to accept it, but it's been submitted. Bears or the Ravens of the NFC neglect your offense and load up on defense. Yeah, that's been them historically. That's been them historically for sure. And so I'll just show this real quick, even though I don't want to jump back and rehash this whole thing, but just so y'all see it. According to Schefter, Jets GM Joe Douglas says there's no rush on an Aaron Rodgers trade and Lamar Jackson is not an option. So if that trade doesn't go through, then they're just going to ride out with Zach Wilson, which I think is extremely laughable for a team that is trying to win now. So I think they're just going to get it done with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think, there is no scenario for them where Aaron Rodgers is not a Jet. I think that's how they're approaching it. But I will roll up out of here. I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Always enjoy y'all in the comments. I'm glad we are getting some momentum with this stream. Spread this to people who you might think enjoy it as well. Let's get these subscriptions up. The channel's been growing. I want to continue that growth, but I always appreciate y'all for pulling up. I appreciate the kind words. I always appreciate the discourse. I just thought of just something to do here on YouTube in terms of doing this stream, and we've been able to run this stream up and run the numbers up on other clips and stuff like that. So let's keep the momentum going. If you find people or know people that rock with NFL and just, getting into these types of conversations, send it to them. Let's chop it up. Let's all build this community here together. So I will be back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of Timeline T. For @TheSamD, if you want to catch me on the Elon app, Twitter, you see that up there in the corner. I am Sam Duzman Jr. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace.